Uh, so today we'll be starting with the GIT, the first tool in the CI/CD pipeline, or else from where your CI/CD pipeline begins. This is where we'll be learning about this tool completely, and we'll be talking about the architecture. We'll start from the basics and we'll get into the architecture of this tool, in and around of the tool, and then we'll begin with the hands-on. So let's get started. So what is a version control system? Some of you might be using a version control system, right? Some of you might be new to this. So let's begin with understanding what a version control system does. To help you understand this, I'm just taking a simple scenario. Let us assume there is some project work or else a directory where all the files or related to the project were placed. One second. So let's suppose this is some remote folder or a place where all the files related to the project were placed. And let's say in the project there were multiple people working. Let's say there is a person A and person B. This person A has to make modifications to some files present in here. He downloaded this file to his local computer. He is making some changes. Person B also has got the same file and he was also making some changes. Okay, person A, let's suppose on after, let's say day 2, he kept the changes, he kept the file with his changes back to this shared folder or shared drive where everyone is sharing the work here. So this person B kept the changes back on day 3. Okay, he worked till day 3 and he put the changes back. Now after third day, the file on this remote location, a shared folder, let's say, a file 1 on this shared folder after day 3 will have which person changes? Will it have both the person changes?
No,
Just
B
the
person.
person.
Only person B changes, right? It's simple logic. Here I'm talking about a scenario where we are not using any version control system. Because what is happening here? Person B is overriding the changes of person A. Correct? Right? Person A's changes are being overwritten by person B. If this is the case, and if this keep on continuing, the project gets corrupted, messed up, serious problem, right? Because in a project, there will be 10 people working. If this is the case, if this is how the changes are being overwritten, it doesn't work anymore. Am I correct? It doesn't work. It will cause a lot of problems, challenges. It doesn't work in reality. Can you all see the screen and hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Whoever is not able to see the screen, please check from your end. Okay, try to rejoin. Everyone can see the screen.
Yes, we can see the screen.
Right. So here coming back, the point is I want to tell here, we need a system where multiple people can work on the same file, right? Without any system, without any tool, if this is the case, it doesn't work in reality. If one person changes are overwriting the other person changes, right? So we need a system where a person can overwrite, where a system allows people to work on the same file at the same time without overwriting. So we need a system which can take care of people working on the same files and the same system. Means it should allow people working simultaneously. Right? Simultaneously on the same file. So manually we can't do that, right? We can't sit and just check which file is overwriting which person changes are overwriting the other person changes, whether the files are stored securely or not. We can't do this manually. So we need a system which can allow this, because in a project there'll be multiple people working, there'll be multiple files, there might be a need that they have to work on the same file safely. So that's where version control system comes in. Not only that, we need a detailed logging. Like, why do we need this logging? Let's suppose application is working fine till 6:15 today or else 6 o'clock today. 6:10 application is not working. Means something went down something gone wrong in between. So we need to know which person made changes to which file on line number 9 at 65. At what time these changes were done, right? Like which person made changes to which file on which line at what time. So that if you have this kind of detailed logging, you can revert those changes and bring the application back. Correct? So you need a system which can provide you this kind of detailed history, detailed logging. Again, manually, this is not possible, right? So this is another advantage of a version control system. By the way, you might be having a question, what files are these? These files, or else this project could be a development project. Developers might be using it, or else it might be a test project. QA professionals might be using it, like they will write some automation test scripts. Even this will be used by DevOps teams. DevOps teams will have some configuration scripts, their config files and all, right? Meaning any file should need these features, or else any file should be stored in such an environment where it allows multiple people working parallelly, where you will have detailed logging and so on, right? Am I making sense? So this is irrespective of whether you are a DevOps person or not. If you are entering into IT or if you want to work in a software project, I would say this is one of the basics everyone should know Git from the perspective of managing your projects, managing your files in the projects to be more specific. How to use it in the CI/CD pipeline, that's another aspect. We'll come to that part also. First, we are talking about how do you use Git to, or else how do you manage your files in the project. So if you talk about development project, it could be some program files, Java program files, .NET project files, or else Perl scripts, Python scripts, PHP files, whatever it is. It could be any static file. Any file can be version control. If you talk about QA people, those might be automated test scripts, right? So they do write some test framework where they generate scripts for automation testing. Those could be those script files. As a DevOps person, again, those might be your configuration files, script files, Kubernetes config files, Terraform config files, whatever it is. Right? So any file, any static file can be version control. Here, our intention in the first perspective is not to see which file it is, but to understand how do you version control these files using a tool like Git. So these are the two reasons, two features, like it can help you with logging, it can help you allow people work parallelly. Not only that, let's suppose you want to, okay, you had file one, which is a version one. Client came and said they need some modifications on the same file, which would be version two, means you need to modify it. Let's suppose you have edited the same file and made version two. And client has used this after a month, client want to go back to the previous version because users doesn't like this version 2. So again, you have to do rework because you have modified the same one and made this file, right? So don't delete the versions. Don't edit the, don't edit the older versions and make the new version. Maintain the backups, right? Maintain version 1 also, so that if they want to revert, it would be not a rework for you all. Correct? So these are all some of the features like logging, having a backup, securely store all the versions, don't override and make the new versions. So what these are all the features possible with any version control system. You can't do this manually because developers, if it, let's say if it is a development project, developers might be, they should work on their scripts, they should work on their logic, they should work on the functional requirements, client requirements and all, right? So they can't just sit and do all of this. Same is the case with any other team. So that's where version control systems comes in. If anyone already using it, you might be quite aware of this. If anyone new to this should clarify what a version control system is. This is one perspective of using a version control system. The second perspective is, let's suppose developer wrote the code and placed it in a version control system. Whenever developer places the code in the version control system, we need a system which will pull the code, build it, test it, and so on. So once you learn it, we'll also learn in that perspective. Are we good? Any questions in this part? So that's what version control system is. And based on the architecture of their version control system, they were categorized as centralized version control systems and distributed version control systems based on the architecture. So what is a centralized version control system? If you see here, there'll be a central server or remote server, whatever you call it, where all the project work is kept. Individual collaborator or a developer or DevOps person, whatever project it is, they will be connecting to the remote repository. Working copies, these are like workstations of each individual collaborator. They will connect to the remote repository, download the files, make some changes, and put them back. Right? That's how centralized version control system works. It's like a single source of truth. And there were few drawbacks with this kind of architecture. The first drawback is always network connection should be there. Let's say for some reasons there is no network connectivity, network disconnected. Entire work is altered, right? They work by connecting to this remote. If for some reasons network connectivity is not there, entire work will be altered. So that's the first thing. And the second thing is, let's suppose you have this a working copy and you're connecting to it and working it, right? What if the central server is lost for some reasons or crashed? Chances of recovery are less because everyone is connecting to the same source and working. There is no kind of backup. Recovery, chance of recovery are less. These are the two problems or drawbacks of this kind of architecture. Tools like there were tools which follow this architecture: SVN, DFS, Perforce, follow the centralized architecture. Are we good with this architecture?
Yes.
To overcome these challenges, we have something called distributed version control systems. See here in distributed version control system, there'll be like a central server or remote repository where all the project work is kept. And this is the workstation of each individual user or collaborator. This is the workstation of each individual user or collaborator. Let's say developer 1, developer 2, and so on. Okay. So every user will be working on this working copy and will connect to the local. Means, let me put it this way. This is called central server or remote repository, right? Where all the project work is. And every user will have their own copy, which is called local repository, which is a copy of central server or remote server, right? So this is the local repo. Again, they'll not directly work on local repo. They'll work on some other copy called working directory. This is called working directory. They'll work on means another folder or directory. They'll work here, push their changes to local. From local, they'll push their changes to central server or remote server. Right? Understood? So this is how the distributed version control system works. The same is the case with every single user. Every single user will have a copy of their remote, which is the local repository. This is the local repository. Right? So what is the advantage of this? If even though network connections, network connectivity is not there, network disconnected, still they can continue working on it. 1 second, please. So here, if you see, local repository is a copy of central server. So even though network connectivity is not there, still they can continue the work on local repository, right? So work is not halted, still they can work here. You need network connectivity to get a copy from remote by pulling, or else once your complete work is done, you will push. So only for push and pull commands, you need network connectivity. And push and pull commands are less frequent because you get a copy once, and whenever there are any updates, you will get the copy, of course. And once your work is done, you will push it, right? Even though network connectivity is not there, you can still continue work on the local repository, correct? So that drawback is overcome here, right? Network connectivity is required only to push or pull. Second thing, let's suppose the central server is crashed or something happened. Chances of recovery are more, right? Chances of recovery are more because everyone is having a copy of that central server, isn't it? That's another advantage. Another thing is working with the local repository is just like accessing your hard disk, right? It's quite faster. This kind of architecture is quite faster. And yes, Git follows this distributed architecture. Git, Mercurial, Fossils follows this distributed architecture. And Git is very widely used in all the modern DevOps tools, modern DevOps projects. Are we clear with this architecture of distributed version control systems in general? We'll talk about the architecture of Git in particular in few minutes. But before we go there, any questions from anyone?
Ma'am, what is the difference between working copy and repository? As both are in local folder of client machine. So,
This is not the local folder. This is the workstation of each user. Means it's my local computer, let's say. Okay, working directory is another folder. Local repository is another folder. You will not
okay,
directly work on the local repository. There'll be another folder like or directory, whatever you call it, which would be called as working copy technically, where you make your changes. From there, you push your changes to local. From local, you push to remote.
okay,
Directly, you can't make changes here and push to remote.
okay.
We will talk about again the Git architecture in particular in detail, where we'll go into each part.
As you said, repository and working copy will be in the client machine. So, how it will be distinguished in between both of them?
Like whenever you install Git, working directory will be separate, a local repository will be separate, working directory will be separate folders.
Okay, okay. So, is there any command to push from working copy to repository?
Yes, of course, there were so many commands. We will learn all of them.
Okay, okay.
So we got an understanding on centralized and distributed, right? What are distributed tools? Distributed version control system, centralized. Git falls under this. So also you can see the graph of Git when compared with other tools. This is a graph from 2020. You can also get the latest graph from Google. The blue one is Git if you see, right? There is no good competitor actually. Git is so widely used when compared with any other tools. But if you know Git, you can also work with other tools very easily. Now, let's talk about the architecture of Git. This is the architecture of Git. See here, we have discussed the architecture of distributed version control system in general, right? So each tool may have its own terminology. So if you see, this is the workstation of individual user. Okay, there'll be a remote copy. Okay, from where remote copy or remote repository, from where they'll create this local repository. Local repository is going to be on my local computer, let's say. See here, this one. Now, if you want to make any changes, like we discussed, there'll be another folder called working directory, where you'll make changes. And from there again, you can't directly push to local. There'll be something called staging area. Staging area, or this is also called as index area. This is just a virtual layer. virtual layer, you have to push here, and from here you have to push to local. From local it goes to remote. Means it's like a 3 steps before your changes goes to remote. From local, see here. From working directory to staging area, from staging area to local, from local to remote. It's like a 3 steps before your changes goes to remote. This is called GIT tree. Right? You can imagine working directory to be like a folder, or if you are Linux person, it's a directory. You can consider local repositories like another directory. You make your changes here. Run git add command means it will be added to staging area. And from staging area, you run git commit command, they goes to local. Right? This is how they proceed. And okay, what is the importance of the staging area? Right? What is its importance? Why do you need the staging area or index area? It's like a preview or else pre-check before your changes goes to remote. Preview or pre-check before your changes goes to remote. Means in simple terms, it is like it will help you to have control on what changes going to remote. Means let's suppose you have 10 files on working directory. You want only 5 files to put to remote. So you will add only those 5 files to staging area. Whatever we were discussing now, I'm going to show all of this practically in 5 minutes. We'll be getting into hands-on. I will show you every working directory, staging area, every component we will see. Just understand theoretically first. We are going to see this practically now. Right? So means remember, staging area will help you to have better control on your changes, like how your changes progress. Okay. Here I would like to tell you a very interesting point. I told you, right, working directory is another folder, local repository is another folder. Strictly speaking, this working directory, local repository is one and the same folder. Physically, it's one and the same folder. Logically, they are different. What does it mean? Let me clarify. Imagine there is a folder like this. Okay, some folder or directory, whatever you call it. Let's say it's a you created local repository. The same folder is nothing but your working directory. Then how come you say from working directory you push to local? How is that possible? Let me tell you. See, you go to this folder and you just created a file. Means this file is set to be in the working directory only. After creating the file, if you add this, if you run this command on the file, then it is set to be in the staging area. After this, if you run the command git commit, then you say the files, the changes are in the local repository. Physically, it's the same folder, but logically, this is how it's different. Interesting, right? So the same, it's a physically the same folder, but logically, this is how it is different. And once you push to remote, then from remote, you can share to, from local, you can share to remote. Unless and until you you push your changes to remote, others cannot see them. They're confined only for yourself. Understood and clear? Are we good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Right? We are going to learn this with the hands-on, but yeah, this is the point you need to keep in mind. Another thing is, let's talk about how are these local repositories created. The second
Ma'am,
thing,
sorry to interrupt. There is a question. Like you said that git commit will get impacted on local repository, right? So it won't get changes into remote repository unless and until we use the command commit. So only the changes will be reflecting on local repository, or it will reflect also on the remote repository.
only on local. Git commit will make your changes available on local repository. That's it. After git commit, if you want to push your changes or make them available on remote, you have to run git push. Then only they are available on remote. Otherwise, no. They are not.
Okay, got you. Thank you.
Okay. So let's talk about how do you create a local repository. To create a local repository, there are multiple use cases. Let's talk about the first use case. Assume that you joined the project today. It was completely new project from scratch. You have to develop it as a DevOps person. You have to start implementing DevOps. So there is nothing on remote. It's a new project. There's nothing on remote. So you create an empty local repository first. Okay, then make changes. Okay, push to staging, push to local, then push to remote. Means basically you are creating an empty local repository using a command called git init, develop in your local, then push to remote. That's one use case. The other use case is, let's say you joined a project, it's already running project, some 2-year-old project, there is already something on remote. So to make changes, you copy from remote and create a local repository. This is another use case where you use git clone. See here, I'm just giving a very high level picture. We will learn the exact commands. Okay, just I'm giving you a clue. These are the two use cases how you create local repo. Okay, we will look into both the use cases. First, today we'll get started with this use case. Tell me, please. Some of you are saying something. Okay. All right. So first we will start with this use case today, like assuming it's a fresh project, there is nothing on remote, we create a local one, we develop here. And once it is ready, we'll push to remote and make a remote repository. Then we will also learn, we'll take some remote existing repository and we'll copy and create a local. That also we will see as we progress. Is this much clear for each and every one? See, Git is a very interesting tool. Okay, initially it might be a bit tricky and confusing, but if you learn with clarity, if you are good with the basics, you can work with Git very easily, very comfortably. Also, you can answer any sort of interview questions here. Good to go?
Yep.
Yes.
Yes.
Right. And always you should keep this architecture, this picture in your mind. Okay. Whenever you are doing any commands, you should relate to this architectural diagram and do it. This is there already in the Google Drive, which will be shared with you. So now that we learned Git, let us start using Git. Git works on multiple operating systems. Okay. Git works with Windows, Mac, Linux, and so on. So first we will, like you can see only installation is different. Commands, concepts are same. It works on multiple operating system. Only installation step is different. That is also just one line command. So let us install Git on our local and use it. Okay, we don't need to go to like AWS platform now. When we will go to AWS platform where we need it also, we will go through as per the scenarios. So first, let us install Git on your system. How do you install Git? The Git installation steps, everything are there in the Google Drive. Let me show you. This is the Google Drive, you will get access. And if you go here, Git hands-on command, Git installation on Windows, the Git presentation, additional references, everything you have. So you don't need to worry and save them. You will have access to all of them. So just relax and listen. And just type in Git download. Go. This is the way you should do. See here, you can do it on Mac, Windows, Linux, and so on. So if you are using Windows, just go here and download that exe. I believe every one of you know this, right? Downloading an executable and running the executable. Still, if you need any help, you have your documentation with all the steps, what you should do. See, when you click here, you will get this exe, run the exe. Okay. Follow just by clicking on next. See, on every step, you have to click on next. That's all you have to do. And in few steps, it would be installed. Once it is installed, go to the start menu and run git bash. It will give you a terminal where you can run git commands. That's how you install on Windows. So if it is a Linux machine, if you want to install on Linux, just go here. Depending on your system, if it is Fedora, minstall git or do Ubuntu apt-get, these are the commands. If it is a Mac, brew install git will do. This is only one-time task you have to install. Okay, you can just download and install this. I have already installed it. I'm repeating again, if it is Windows, go to the start menu and launch your git bash after installing it. If it is Mac, you can just launch your terminal to work with git. Are we good with the installation process? Any questions? And you can check once it is installed, you can check the git version. So git is installed and available. Now, okay, fine. Git is installed on my system. And we are assuming that we are in a new project. There is nothing on remote. So we have to create a Git local repository, an empty one manually, work on that and then push to remote. Correct. So, okay, fine. Git is installed on my system. But where is my project folder on my system, right? So just go to your project folder. Project folder maybe like you may not have any project folder as of now. You can create some directory where you are going to keep all your project files. I'm creating a separate directory called git demo. mkdir means make directory, a simple Linux command. If you are, we will learn these commands separately in Linux sessions. So if you are new, just right click and create the folder. Like you do it from the GUI, like just go to the drive, go to that folder. You're following, right? You just go to the folder, right click and create the folders you want. Okay. Or else you can also create like this with the CLI. Folder might be created. Go to this git demo. Right, there is nothing in here. And if you see, the folder might be created. You can also see this way from the UI. See, this is the one I just created. Can you see that? It is looking empty. So I just created some folder where I want to version control all the files. So it's just a normal folder now. But if you want to version control whatever present in this folder, right? So then in that folder, run the command called git init. Git init means Git is installed on the system, but you should tell Git which folder it should version control. Means if you run this command, this folder, Git demo, will become a local repository, right? This will become a local repository, correct? This Git demo will become a local repository, and whatever files and folders you are going to keep in this particular folder will be tracked or version controlled by Git. So let me run Git. So if you see, a hidden file will be created. ls-a will show the hidden files, .git. If you don't know these commands, no worries. You don't need to know Linux at this point of time. You just open your folder and check this way, right? Do you see the folder having that hidden file? .git, are you able to see that? So,
Yes.
So yes, you are seeing .git in any folder means that folder is nothing but your local repository. That folder is nothing but your working directory. Correct? So yes, I have created a local repository, working directory. Both are same, right? Physically same. Okay, fine. I do ls, there were no files. I can run git status. It says that there is nothing to comment. Let us create some file here. Shall we create some file here?
Yes.
Suresh is asking, can you start the command from start? This is what I did, Suresh, these two commands. Just create a folder, mkdir means make directory. If you are not a Linux person, right click and create from the GUI like you do in your Windows. Perfectly fine. Just create some folder, cd, go to that folder, You can do it from the GUI and run git init command there. Once you run git init, this folder become local repository or a working directory, whatever you call it.
Hi Preeti, I have a question.
Mm.
So as it is mentioned in the this window, command prompt, like the initial repo's name will be master, right? Local repo. So can we change it to the different name as it
See
mentioned
this,
over here
first
hint?
of all, Nikhil, this is not the local repo name. That is the branch in this
Yeah, I
folder.
mean branch, yes.
We will
So
talk about branches concept separately. Okay,
hmm,
let's not bring branches here. We have many other things we need to learn before we talk about branch.
hmm,
So just ignore this part. Just understand this is a folder which is a local repository. We created a local repository or we created a working directory. Now, how do you create a files and how do you move them to working directory to staging area, staging to local, which we learned in the architectural diagram? First, let's get clarity on it. We will talk about branches later.
oh, okay. Basically, I was asking about the renaming of the default name of master. So we can give any name to it, right?
We can't give, you can't rename it.
So our it is written over like git config dash dash global init dot default branch, and we can change it to this name also.
Like initially,
Hint.
we shouldn't be doing it. Okay, we will talk about that later. See, names
Okay.
commonly chosen instead of master or main trunk development. Okay, there were some rules what you can give. You can't do that. Why you can't do? We need to understand the concept of branching. Let's not get into that now. We will go into that for sure. We'll learn branching
Okay.
concept is there separately. So this is the folder. Now let's create some files and let's try to manage them. You may, like I said, right, you always do this from the GUI if you are not comfortable with the CLI. I prefer CLI. Touch will create a file. I'm just creating some text files because our interest is not to learn any language, any programming. I just want to version control the files. So I'm creating some dummy files. You may just can check here as well. Uh, See, file is created. Do you see that? Let's say you can edit this file from the CLI also. I just open this file and I just want to make some changes. Let's say I'm adding a line, hello, and I want to save this. Okay, now what happened to the file? Just let's see. Git status will tell you what is happening. Ignore this part for some time. Okay, we will come to that part. Now just see this. Untracked file means Git know there is a file. Git knows that there is a file, but it's not tracking. What it is telling, it's giving you a clue. Run git add to track. Now relate to the architectural diagram. It's asking us to add, means where is your file? I just created a file, means where is this file?
Local folder.
No, I mean whether it is working directory
Git
or local
demo.
repository.
Working directory.
Working there.
Exactly. Physically, it's in this folder, but logically, it's in the working directory. Okay, fine. It's asking me to add, I'll add it. Now, can you tell me where is this file? If you don't know, do git status.
Staging area.
Staging area.
Changes to be committed. To be committed means they were not yet committed. So, where is it? Where are the changes now? Staging area. It is in the same folder, but do you notice how logically it was different? Now what you should do, git commit -m, let's say some message, first file, right? That's called commit message. M means message, M is mandatory. This is for your reference later point of time. If you know what this commit does, the message will be helpful. See, it is done. Now I'm clearing the screen. And if you do git status, see, everything is good, means whatever changes you have in the local, I mean, in this folder, were all moved to local repository. Got it now? LS will show the files in that folder. Git LS files will show the files in that staging area or local repository. Shall we repeat it with another file so that it should be clear for you all? Yeah? Okay, see, I am creating another file. Okay, I will make some modifications over there. See, file 2 is there. I'm just adding a line, a dummy line. Whatever content you want, you can add. If you are a programmer, developer, you may add some code or whatever. It's up to you. We are least bothered about the content. Okay, fine. I have a file. I made some lines there. Sorry. Git status. See, untracked means where is this file to?
Working directory.
Working directory.
I want to listen answers from everyone. ls. See, it is in the working directory. Git ls files. See, file 2 is not there. Do you notice that? Because file 2 is not in staging area or local repository, just in the working directory. So, Git knows there is a file, but it's not tracking. What you should do, how to move to staging area?
Git.
Now, if you run, where is the file now?
Staging area.
Staging area.
Staging area. Now, what you should do to move to local repository?
Commit.
Commit. Git
Git
commit.
commit. Also, git commit minus m some message of your choice. This message could be user defined, means you can have your own message. Now ls, git ls files, sorry, git typo. See, both are there. And also git status. It's clean. Working tree is clean. Working tree is clean means whatever files and folders here, everything were moved to local repo. Now, can you relate to our learnings just some time back? Yeah, we understood, right? This is both are same, physically same folder, logically different. You should move to staging, from staging to local. We did not go to remote yet, okay? Before going to remote, we have to learn many other things here. Then we will go to remote. Are we good now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So every file or every change will go through the same process. Right? Till now, we created new files. But it could be just modifying a file as well. Need not necessarily be always creating a new file. Am I correct? What if you have to modify? Let's suppose I want to modify this file. Let's say file 1. I want to modify this file 1. Okay, I'm just adding some line here and save it. I made some change. See, remember one thing, Git works with respect to changes. Means change could be creating a new file, change could be deleting a new file, change could be modifying a new file as well. It works with respect to change in the same way. Means if you modify also, your modification will be in the working directory. You have to move that modification to staging area and commit that. Same, let me show you. Git status. So see the difference. It was telling you changes not staged. Unstaged changes means it's not telling untracked. Do you notice the difference? But this is also not staged. So what is the difference between unstaged and untracked changes? This is again an important thing you should understand. If the interviewer want to check your understanding, definitely this could be a question. What is the difference between untracked and unstaged changes? Anyone?
Untracked means like it has been never be staged by Git, and unstaged which is staged but you have modified it.
Correct. Like, see, basically both are in the working directory only. That's why confusion arises. Both are in working directory, correct? But untracked means this will be for a new files for the first time. Means file is not at all there in the staging area. Unstaged means file is already in the staging area, but new modifications, let's say some modifications, some new lines were there, which were not in the staging area. Got it? So this is for new files. They were never been into staging area. Okay. So what you have to do, again the same. you have to do git add for both of them. You have to do git add, git commit. Okay, here also the same. You can do git add, git commit, or else because this is not a new file, it is unstaged, it's not tracked. Sorry, it's not untracked. You can do this. That is possible. Means you can add and commit with a single command using -a flag. But for untracked, you can't do it. You can do it only for unstaged. Unstaged, you can do either ways. Understood? You can do this way separately or else with a single command this way. But for untracked, you can't do with a single command. Clear? Yeah, because we did separately, let us do it in a single command now. Git commit, add and commit. Let's say file modified. Are we good? Can I run the command?
Yes.
Yes.
So you need to understand how your changes are progressing across working directory, staging area, and local repository. So let me add and commit. Done. Now if you see git status, it's clear. Everything is in place. Okay.
So Preeti, I have another question here. If there are two files and if I just want to commit one file only, not the both, so can we do that?
Yeah. See, generally what happens, whenever you do git add file name, that file will be added. Okay, but if you want to add all the files, you have git add dot. Okay, once you add it, all the changes goes into staging area. And now if you run git commit -m, whatever in the staging area will be committed, and this is the general practice. This is what we do. But still, if you want to commit only certain files present in the staging area, git commit file name like file1 or file2, whatever. Give the complete file name -m message. Only that file will be committed.
Committed. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, and we have done some commits, right? Like 3 commits means you have run 3 times commit command. Whenever you run the commit command, a hash ID will be generated. Okay, and you can see that commit history using the command git log. See, this is the hash code. Okay, alphanumeric, very huge one. And we discussed right in the beginning logging feature. See, this is what logging. It will log with the person details. I'm doing it locally. So my local machine details, the timestamp, April 8, 6:55, something like this. The message you have given there. Right? This is what a detailed logging. So, and also this message is important here. It's just simple one. So I'm just giving like this. You may give related to the context. Let's suppose you have configurations to create the infra. So you put here infra configurations modified. Means your relevant, meaningful message so that at a later point of time, when you see this message, you can understand, okay, is this commit is about modifying the infra, something like that. Right? And also, if you want to see just the brief log, not the complete detailed log, git log, 1-line flag. See, just first 7 characters are enough to refer to any commit. And then the commit messages. Brief log rather than the detailed log. Clear? And also, whenever you are running this commit message for the first time, let's suppose you are doing commit for the first time, you should run the commands like you can set the username and email ID. Let me show you. It is not asking me because this is not my first time. It's asked only for first time. So when you are doing it, you might be prompted. See here, this is the document where you have all the installation steps. This is installation on Linux. Installation on Windows is here. And now, how do you understand staging directory? Everything I have written, see here. Whenever you add, you should run these commands before you do commit. Good. For me, it doesn't prompt me because it's not my first time. For you, if it is first time, it will prompt. Just run these commands by placing your email ID and name so that whenever it is logging, it will track with these details. Good. Here are all the changes, deleting the files. We'll talk about it. But before going to that part, is this much clear? Any questions from anyone? Okay. So we have got some two files and we have got an understanding on staging area, working directory, and local repository. Shall we look into another interesting scenario? Good to go?
Yes.
Yep.
Let's do one thing.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. By the way, this is a notepad, right? I'm editing the files with my notepad, correct? See, this is just a notepad. You may use Notepad++, any editors of your choice. If you are Linux guy, you may use Vim editor, anything. Or else there is another good way or else a better editor to use, which is nothing but VS Code editor. It is just an editor. So if you go here, see VS Code, Visual Studio Code, you can download it for Windows or Linux or Mac accordingly and launch it. Once you download, you just open the application. You will see this as an editor. Okay, editor means like you have Notepad++, Notepad, a good editor which can help you with the, let's say tomorrow we are going to work on Terraform config files or Kubernetes manifest files. So this will help you to manage files better. Companies are also looking for experienced people, like people who have hands-on on all of that. If they really want to check your experience, they may also want to see your hands-on on these editors like this. So better you have experience or hands-on on this. So just launch it and open your project. Go to open folder. Do you remember what is the folder name? Git demo, right? So just open it. See, you can see all the files rather than editing in the notepad or notepad++. This would be better. Also, in Mac, I am using a terminal like this. In Windows, you might be using a git bash. Correct? Another window to run git commands. If you use VS Code editor, you can have the terminal here itself. Go to terminal, new terminal. See? You can have the terminal here itself. Like you want to launch git bash, it will show you here. Go for git bash if it is Windows. If it is Linux, you may use, sorry, if it is Mac, you may use G shell or bash, anything is fine. Here, from here, you can run all the commands. I'm in git folder, CLS. Git. Instead of opening another window, you can do everything here itself. Okay, are we good?
Yes.
So now let us take up a scenario. I'm going to modify this file one. Okay, I'm adding some line here. Done. Save it. Now can you tell me where is this file? I'm running git status. See, this is another advantage. If you use this VS Code editor, it will show you like this. If you keep the cursor, it's modified. Means where is this file? I mean, where is this modification?
Working directory.
Working directory.
Working directory.
Means it is having unstaged changes, correct or not?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
If you want to see unstaged changes, there is a command called git diff file one. It will show you unstaged changes of the file. Do you see that? Unstaged changes of the file. Okay, fine. I will add now. File one. Sorry, file one. Done. Now, see, I have added. Now git diff. See, it's not giving me any output because there were no unstaged changes. Am I correct? There were no unstaged changes. But it is having staged changes or not? It is having staged changes or not? Now, just now I staged, right?
Yes, yes.
Obviously, it's having staged changes. Git diff staged flag will show you staged changes. Okay, fine. Changes are staged. But now I want to modify again. Okay. Now, can you tell me, is it having unstaged change or not? Is it having unstaged change or not?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Yes.
See, it is having unstaged change. It was showing this way. Also, some of the changes were staged. See, right? Means some changes were staged, some changes were unstaged. The same file is having some staged and unstaged changes. At this point of time, if you see status, see same file is shown under changes to be committed means where is this file?
Working directory.
Working directory. No, changes to be committed means where is this
Staging
file?
area.
Untracked.
Staging area. Changes to be committed. So it says that it's in the staging area. Changes not staged means where is this file?
Working directory.
Working directory.
Directory.
Whenever you do status in such scenarios, same file might be shown under both the staging area and working area. Don't get confused. This could be simple logic. Some lines, after adding some lines, I have run git add command. Then later on, again, I modified some change. I have modified the file. So it will have both staged and unstaged. Don't get confused. This could be the scenario. What you will do if you want all of them, git add and commit. That's how diff commands are used. Right? Everything is clean now. See here. Git status. It's clean. Right? Got it now? And these are the commands. Git diff file name will show you unstaged changes of the file. Git diff stage will show you staged changes of the file. Git diff can also be used to see the changes between the branches. We will discuss this later when we start branching. Is this much clear for everyone?
Yes.
So let me summarize. What did we learn today? We have understood what is version control system. Why do you need a version control system? Types of version control systems. These are pretty simple, right? So we have understood about centralized version control system, distributed version control system, and then architecture of Git. This is important where we spend more time, architecture of Git. In particular, we have understood working directory, staging area, local repository. And from here on, we went for the hands-on. Hands-on on creating a Git local, first Git installation. It varies from system like operating system. And from here, commands are same, whether it is Mac or Windows. Git init command, right? Then we did Git status, Git add, Git commit, Git log, of course, Git log one line, and then Git add, Git commit, Git log,
Git diff.
yeah,
Diff.
that,
Git diff.
okay, Git diff, file name, and Git diff stage, right? This is what we have learned. Of course, we also have seen Git log one line. Those are simple actually. Very small part we have seen, but yes, if you are doing it for the first time, and also people might be already using Git in your projects, but you may not get chance to get into this level of understanding. So this may help you people as well, for sure, so that you gain grip over the subject and confidence, right? So, and also, yeah, what we have seen, installed Git, and also we have used installed VS Code editor. This is the editor we'll be using throughout our course. So go through these things. So what you should do today? First, how do you practice? Watch the recording once again. If you feel like you know everything, it's very clear, you watch the video in 2x speed, right? So that you will just quickly, a quick recap of the video, right? Then open your Google Drive, keep it beside with you, keep it alongside and do the hands-on. Okay, install Git and then install this VS Code editor, start using this VS Code editor and start using it. There is also reason of showing you the Git with respect to managing the files. Because see, like a DevOps person, like I already mentioned, we are going to create our Terraform projects, Kubernetes projects, and so on. We'll be using this Git throughout the course. If I teach you in the beginning and if I use it throughout the course, you are also going to do that and you gain grip over Git. That's how you learn Git. So once Git is learned, we'll be learning the Linux basics like mkdir, cd, how to manage users, permissions, whatever we need, we will learn that. But before that, go through these things. Watch the recording, do the hands-on by keeping the drive with you. That is not completed, means it's not just that much. Okay, it's not yet done. After doing that, go to the quiz portal. Yesterday, I have shared you this quiz portal, right? Go to this quiz portal. Complete this Git quiz 1. Okay, once done with that, go here for lab assignments. First, initially do whatever we have done. After that, come here and start from this assignment. Simple assignments, creating new reports, cloning, don't do. Okay, whatever we have done, just go through them. Right? And also, after completing this, also go through the interview questions. Interview questions to whatever extent we have done. Maybe may not be more for today's session, but that's how you should proceed every day. You can start with basic beginner interview questions. What is Git? What is a repository? Differences. Purpose of Git clone, don't learn it. Whatever we have done, just go through. Eventually, by the completion of the topic, you'll be able to go through all of these things. This is what you should do for every topic. So any more questions from anyone? And there are many things we should do here, like deleting the files, reverting the changes, ignoring the files. So many things we have to learn before we go to remote or we go to the other concepts like branching, merging, all of that. And these are all for tomorrow. Tomorrow we will talk about, okay, I'll just mention the topic names: deleting the files, reverting the changes, resetting the changes, ignore. These are the things we'll be dealing tomorrow. Then day after, we have branching, merging, resolving the conflicts. And then on the next session, we'll be having stash, rebase, and then remote repositories. Before we go to remote, you have so many things to deal with. That's where we go to remote. Means that's when we push to remote and learn how to work with remote. This is the high level overview of the coming up sessions. Any questions from anyone? From today's topic or any questions in general?
So Preeti, let's say I have staged the changes and accidentally, and I want to unstage it. So how can I do this?
You have git restore command where you can remove the changes from your staging area. Git restore.
Okay.
Means whenever you are doing git status, it will also give you clue like git restore. This is the command. Try it out. Or else in the class, whenever we came across scenario, I'll show you. Git restore staged file name. That's how you can remove from the staging area.
Okay.
Last 15 minutes is for questionnaire, or if the class may extend, we'll utilize this time. But as it is the first day, this much is enough for today. But if you have any questions, you have to proceed.
Preeti, how can I access this Google Drive? Have you shared that link anywhere?
You can reach out to Raj for the access. You will get the access to all these once you are registered. And for now, all these commands were there on the website as well for the day one. And you will get the recordings anyway today. After the session, recording will be posted. You also have these commands.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks.
Can you say me like whom to connect with for this? Even I have missed. I don't have an access for this Google.
Sure, Dimya, you can message Mr. Raj. His number is
Okay.
there on the website. He can help you with the access.
Okay, thank you.
Preethi, can you just ping that number in that WhatsApp group actually to reach out?
Sure, sure, let me be.
Yeah. Thank you.
Mia, same. Please ping the number. We will.
Yeah, I'm pinging in the Zoom chat. Can you all see if you can see the number? Can you all confirm? If you see here in the Zoom chat, I have messaged.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Preeti, another question since I missed yesterday's class. So actually, I'm in US. So so this class is like happening every day, or there's like 5 days in a week? And what is frequency every week for this
It will
class?
be like Monday to Friday, Hitesh. Like every day, it will be Monday to Friday, same time. And if
Okay.
you need any time at any point of time, we may have it on Saturdays with prior notice. Like we'll inform you on the day before, and we may have sessions some Saturdays. But generally, it will be 5 days a week. And if you
Okay.
miss any session, everyday class recordings will be posted.
Mhm.
First 2-3 sessions might be the recordings will be available for public for everyone, and later on there'll be private access for you.
Okay. So for me, it will be like from Sunday to Thursday then. In that case.
Yeah, for you it will be Sunday to Thursday.
Okay. Thank you.
All right then. If you have any other questions, you can reach out to us on WhatsApp. Okay. And if you have any questions during your hands-on also, utilize the same group. By tomorrow or day after, we'll be creating a separate group. Until then, you can post your queries in the same group.
Preeti, one question. You people provide the lab, right? Lab.
Yes.
Okay. Whatever my question is, lab is provided from your side or not? How?
Like today, I have shown you the lab setup, right? It's on your own system. So you can set up your own lab like I have shown you. Once we go to AWS servers, I'll show you how do you set up your own lab for free. Everyone will have your own lab. You don't need to rely on someone to have your lab. So that you can do hands-on at your own convenience.
Okay.
Today's lab is install Git on your local system. That's all. That one I have shown you, right? How to do that. Clear?
Yes, yes.
All right then. Thanks everyone. Good day. See you all tomorrow. Bye everyone.
Yeah. Bye.